All right, lads and lassie, welcome back for part two of the balance of payments. All right, so we'll start off. I kind of want to show you with the balance of payments, the categories and how it's broken down, right? So we have the first one, which was the current account, right? And in this one, we're looking at the export of goods. So we sell soybeans to Japan, China, South Korea, North Korea. No, not North Korea. South Korea. That's an export of goods, right? So we would put that there. But we also remember from our articles that we import steel. So the importing of steel, right, that would go down there. So export and import of goods are tangible items. We then have export of services, all right? Any services, insurance, accounting, financial that we sell to foreigners or we give them, right? And any that we would get from them. And then we get the balance of trade. Right. Then we look at net investment income, right? Dividends that we earn overseas and things like that. And net transfers, right? Money that's being sent for payments. Could be Social Security, could be me sending a check to my grandmother for the land so I could become a lord, things like that. All right. So we're not going to focus on those two as much, all right? The focus is going to be up top, and then we have the balance of the current accounts. For our country, the balance of current accounts is usually a negative number, okay? Because while we do export more services than we import, the goods that we import are so great that when you add them all together, the balance of the current account usually is a negative number for the United States. Right? If you were doing this balance of payment for China, it would be positive because they're an exporting country. Right. Then we look at the financial capital account. Right. We're looking at money going abroad. Right. So capital money leaving. The Pfizer goes and buys a plant in Ireland to produce the vaccine. Right. So that capital leaves here and goes to Ireland. Right. And then it also comes back. We have capital that comes in from people like China who want to lend us money because they want a safe place to put their money and earn an interest rate, all right? And then we'll get the total. It says capital coming in because almost always for us it's capital coming in, right? Then we have the reserve accounts. This is where we're going to buy and sell our currency on the foreign exchange market to balance out this payments. So if we have a negative, if the balance of trade is greater than the capital coming in, we'll have to get more, we'll have to buy our dollars off the foreign exchange market. And if the financial account is greater than the current account, we'll sell our currency, right? And that's all in attempt to balance it out, right? And that gives us the total. All right, so let's do this. Let's do the first, we're going to do a couple of transactions. So let's do the first transaction, all right? First transaction is a farmer from Jamaica sells 1 ton of grains to a grocery store in England. So this balance of payments, we're going to look at it from the England side, right? The Jamaican side would just be the opposite of what we're doing here. So we have an import of $250. So we go back to our balance of payments and we see we have a negative 250 for imports, right? Then we go and we have England selling $500 of shirts to Jamaica. That's a export of $500. So we come back here, right? We have $500 in the goods, right? So we have an export of 500 for England. Jamaica sells 5 assembly line robots to the Aston Martin Motor Company, right? 300. So that's a $300 import. We go back to the balance of payments and we have the negative 300, right? Then we go transaction 4. The BBC sells movie posters to the Jamaican Film Company, right, for $500. That's a $500 export. We go to our balance of payments, and you see we have a plus 500. All right, so those are all the transactions that were for goods. Now transaction 5. All right, we'll go to transaction 5. Jim receives $50 for his business consultation with Last Chance Incorporated in Jamaica. So he's giving them a service, right? So it's an export of service, $50. And we do $50 of exporting of services, right? Then the next transaction, transaction 6, a Jamaican programming sells software design to London, right? So what's happening here? The money is leaving the country, right? It's imported of services. So we go to our balance of payments, click here, right? And we have the $20 down as a service transaction, right? And then we go to number 7. Winslow receives $30 for his time as a designer for Lloyd Taylor Designs in England, right? So Lloyd Taylor is buying a design from someone over in Jamaica. So that is an import of the service. We go to here, and then transaction 7 is a negative 30, all right? Last one for the current accounts. London Graphic designs new uniforms for the Jamaican cricket team, right? So for England, it's a $40 of exporting of services, all right? So we go to the thing and we have that. All right, and then we go to our next transaction, which is Queen Elizabeth sends $50 to her cousin Mildred in Jamaica. So there's no services, there's no goods happening here. This is a purely financial transaction, right? It's a $50 net transfer. So we go here to the bottom half, right? Sorry, I guess we should have totaled that up for $490. Then we have the net transfer from Queen Elizabeth to Mildred of $50. All right. Then the Jamaican Jerk Chicken Company sells Sharon Craig $40, sends her $40 in dividends on the Jamaican Jerk Chicken she bought. Right. So Sharon had bought shares of Jamaican Jerk Chicken, and now there's a dividend. So there's a payment coming to her. All right. So we'll move back to the balance of payments, right? And we have we have the $40 change. All right, now that is that's the 50 going out, so we end up with a balance of trade of 480. All right, now let's do this. We have Ricky Gervais purchases stock in a Jamaican publishing company. All right. That gives us $2,200 of capital going abroad because he's buying stock in Jamaica. All right. We have the $2,200, right, that's leaving the country. Then the next transaction, Jeff Aaron sells bonds from Jamaica Cocoa Bread to Bobby Smith, right? Bobby Smith is buying shares in Cocoa Bread, right? That's $600 that is leaving the country, right? So we have that 600 there, 1,600, excuse me. Then we have transaction 13. Peter O'Toole sells the East End Putt-Putt Golf Course for $1,800 to Derek Livingston. Derek Livingston is a Jamaican citizen. Okay, so we have $1,800 coming in from Jamaica. We go back to the balance of payments, and we have $1,800. Right? Go back. We do another transaction. So we have Bob Marley purchases Soho Waterworks Play Park for $1,500 from Eric Clapton. Do I need to tell you that Bob Marley is Jamaican and Eric Clapton is English? If I do, then we need to do some extra help after school on music, right? So we have that transaction, which means $1,500 is coming in. Again, let's go back to our balance of payments, and we have the $1,500. All right, so you can see that there's $2,800 going abroad. There's $1,500 and $1,800, right, going out. So we end up with plus 500 in capital accounts, right? So, I'm sorry, it's a negative, it's a plus above, right? So then what ends up happening is we need to offset this with official reserves because the two accounts aren't balanced. Right, so what we need to do is, oh, I can't find it. We need to do a $20 transfer, right? So that the 500 and 480 all equal each other. All right, and then we balance it out. It's as simple as that. All right, and I know it's a little complicated, but it is what it is. All right, so the important stuff is that we need to know about the exchange rates and balance and loanable funds. And this is what it's going to show us. All right, boys and girls, talk to you later.